For more on this, I'm joined in the studio now by France 24's Shirli Sitbon. Hi, Shirley.
Hello.
What have we learnt from these reports of Russian intelligence being used by Iran?
And must say that it's the Washington Post who broke the story first, talking to three U.S. Officials. What we've learned, perhaps we're better understanding, we're getting why the Iranians are hitting so many targets. Apparently, their intelligence is very precise, and those U.S. officials said that, the pattern in which the Iranians have been using to strike all of these areas, the warships, the aircraft, various military assets, not always successful, but heading in the right direction, being struck down most of the time, but heading in the right direction and sometimes hitting a precise area, U.S. radars, various forces. Well, this can be explained, according to the experts, by some helping hand from Russian intelligence. Now, yesterday we heard Sergei Lavrov, Russia's foreign minister, talking about moral support from Moscow to various actors in Iran, all those suffering from the U.S.-Israeli aggression, said Sergei Lavrov yesterday. Well, apparently, it's more than that. The White House was questioned about these reports, and it chose to focus on the amazing results of its war, its operations there, that the Iranian forces have been crushed, quashed, the regime decimated. The White House not addressing too much what these reports, and the Washington Post called the Russians themselves to get some comment on this, and they didn't get any response from Dmitry Peskov, the Kremlin spokesperson. Meanwhile, while we're talking about U.S. intelligence, there was a report today, from the National Intelligence Council saying that and actually, that's a report that came even before the war, saying that even a large-scale war in Iran will not topple the regime. That's something that is extremely complicated, and that the local opposition does not have the tools to change the regime, to organize elections. There's still a long road ahead. So this report came before the war started, but it only became public and was published. Reports were published in the press today.
And now, Shirley, I'd like to talk about something we touched on just a few minutes ago in the show. The Iranian president today, this Saturday, issuing an apology to regional countries for launching missiles, rockets at them in recent days. What's the thinking behind this apology?
Well, we've seen the Iranians changing their way of handling their neighbors since the very beginning of the war. When Israel and the U.S. attacked Iran, Iran retaliated, but it also attacked its neighbors, not only U.S. bases, but also other areas. And the neighbors, for example, Saudi Arabia, said immediately that that was unjustifiable and that it had promised, it had vowed, pledged to Iran that no attack would leave from Saudi soil, and yet Iran attacked it. So there were various analysts talking about this. Why was Iran targeting its neighbors? Well, its neighbors are easier to hit with drones than rather with missiles arriving into Israel, for example. Also, the idea was that maybe Iran tried to generate some kind of reaction from U.S. allies in the region, so they would apply pressure on the Americans to put an end to the war as soon as possible. But days went on, and it did not seem to function if this was the idea from the beginning. And so anger continued, and now we're seeing this perhaps even reversal in the response from the Iranians. Not the same people, of course, reacting. This is the president we're talking about, who is much more moderate than other figures in the regime. So saying that Iran will no longer attack its neighbors as long as no attacks leave from their territory. That's some of the latest statements issued there from the regime.
Shirli Sitbon, thank you very much.